Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the core ideas behind ITIL4's service management practices. We're going to look at how these frameworks can take IT operations from, well, chaotic to a finely tuned engine that actually drives business value. So, let's dive right in.
You know the feeling, right? There's a critical system outage just as you're about to hit a major deadline. Or maybe a simple request for new software gets stuck in a black hole for weeks. It's so easy for IT to feel less like a partner and more like a roadblock to getting things done. But what if there was a better way?
And that's exactly where ITIL's service management practices come into play. Now, don't think of these as some rigid, dusty rulebook. Think of them as a set of proven playbooks, structured, repeatable ways to get things done right. They're the blueprint for turning that reactive, chaotic IT department into a streamlined machine that creates real value for the business.
So, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by talking about how to get IT aligned with what the business actually cares about. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of daily service delivery. After that, we'll see how to protect and improve those services, connect all the dots, and finally, look at the big payoff for the business.
All right, first things first. We have to make sure that IT isn't just busy for the sake of being busy. It has to be working on the right things. This first group of practices is all about closing that all-too-common gap between what the business needs and what IT is actually delivering.
These three really work together beautifully. Business analysis is all about understanding the real business problem, the why. That then feeds into the service catalog, which is basically a menu of what IT offers, so everyone's on the same page. And then service level management wraps it all up by defining what good actually looks like with clear, measurable goals. And here's a perfect real-world example of that. Instead of just building some tech because it seemed cool, a business analyst actually saw a problem. Patients were waiting too long. They translated that business problem into an IT solution, a self-service kiosk, that had a massive, measurable impact. That's what true alignment looks like. Okay, so now that we're all pointing in the same direction, let's talk about execution. This next set of practices is all about the day-to-day stuff, keeping the engine running smoothly and making sure that when people need help, they get it fast.
Let's be real. Things are going to break, and when they do, the number one top priority is just getting things back up and running. That's the sole focus of incident management. We're not trying to write a dissertation on the root cause right now. We're just focused on speed, get the service back, minimize the disruption, and let people get back to their jobs. And when you nail this process, the results are, well, they're huge. A report from the research firm Virtualization Options LLC found that organizations who really get incident management right see their resolution time drop by 30%. That's nearly a third faster. But that's just where it starts, because that speed leads to incredible efficiency. That same report showed that they hit a 60% first contact resolution rate. I mean, think about that. More than half the time, the very first person you talk to fixes your problem. No more getting bounced around between departments. And the result of that efficiency?
It's predictability. Hitting your targets 85% of the time means the business can actually count on IT. That builds a ton of trust and credibility, which, is priceless.
Okay, fixing things quickly is great. It's essential. But you know what's even better? Stopping them from breaking in the first place. This next section is all about making that shift, moving from a constant state of firefighting to proactively building strong, resilient services.
And this is such a critical difference to understand. Think of incident management as the paramedic who arrives on scene and stops the bleeding, fast. Problem management is the detective who comes in later to figure out why the accident happened and then fixes the dangerous intersection so it never happens again. One is about immediate relief. The other is about long-term prevention.
And then you have planning for the really big what-ifs, which is where service continuity comes in. Just look at this timeline. At 8 a.m., disaster strikes, a total cooling failure. But because a solid plan was already in place, they activate it immediately. In just over 2 hours, the most important services are already back online from a backup site, and by the afternoon, it's business as usual. That doesn't happen by accident. That is the direct result of planning.
Now here's a key point. None of these practices work in a silo. They aren't meant to be separate things. The real magic happens when they're all interconnected, sharing information and creating one seamless, intelligent system.
So here's a classic example of how that flow works. Let's say the help desk notices the same incident popping up over and over. That pattern triggers a problem investigation to find the real root cause. Once they find it, the fix is managed through a formal change process, which then gets rolled out in a planned release. And the whole time, a central database is tracking every single piece of the puzzle, so you always know what's what. It's just a beautiful, logical chain of events.
And this idea of integration is totally key for modern development too. Take something like testing. This chart says it all. When you automate your testing, you not only catch way more bugs before they ever reach your users, but look at the cost. It just plummets. You get higher quality, faster, for less money. It's a no-brainer. So, we've gone through the processes and the practices, but why does any of this really matter? Let's talk about the ultimate payoff, the actual, tangible results that a business sees from doing all this. It all starts right here with productivity. That same report from Virtualization Options LLC found that companies who get this stuff right see on average a 42% jump in productivity. That is a staggering number. And it makes sense, right? When people aren't fighting with their tech or waiting on IT, they can just do their jobs. And a huge reason for that productivity boost is just raw speed. When all these practices are working together, the time it takes to fix things drops by a whopping 67%. That is more than twice as fast. And when you combine that speed with higher productivity, it leads directly to the bottom line.
Yep, the money. For an average mid-sized company, we're talking about $4.3 million in savings every single year. That's money that comes from less downtime, from more efficient processes, and from just not wasting people's time. You can't argue with that.
So if you take away one thing from all this, let it be this. Mature service management isn't just about making IT tidy. It's a fundamental transformation. It's how IT evolves from being seen as a necessary cost center into a true strategic partner that actively helps the business win.
And that really just leaves one final question for you to think about. When you look at your own organization, from how you align with the business, to how you handle daily issues, to how you plan for the future, where is your single biggest opportunity to start making things better?